So you want to world build towns, cities, and settlements which feel awesome and feel completely alive. But you want to do it quickly, right? I mean, who doesn't? Greetings and salutations. I'm Janet from World Anvil, and this is 5 tips to world build cities and settlements which are awesome. Are you ready? Let's light up the forge. Cities are so important for almost every world building project. They're great for RPG campaigns, for novels, for urban fantasy, for superhero stuff. You need them for pretty much everything. And you want them to feel memorable and awesome. In fact, depending on your setting, it's traditional that the city has its own character and really feels like its own unique person within the story. These 5 tips, or, steps, are designed to get you from, I don't know where my city is, to, holy crap, this place is awesome. Each step is full of questions which are designed to help you build out your city, and you don't have to answer every single one of them. And you don't have to answer every single one with a huge paragraph either. Just a couple of sentences is plenty to start building out the idea of your city. That said, if you're looking for a world building template for settlements and cities which has all the bells and whistles, check out our world building template on worldanvil.com. You can access it with a free account. Tip 1 for world building your town or city is to figure out where it is. Location, location, location. Making your cities and then dropping them somewhere on a map is a one-way ticket to a city that is just blah. Blah, 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 blah. After all, cities are a product of the geography that they are in, so make sure you figure that out first. The most common place for cities is on rivers and seacoasts, and you can also find them next to major resources. I did an entire video about where to put cities, which I have linked at the top and bottom of this video, so if you want more details on that, check out that video. The choice of where you put your city obviously affects your city in myriad different ways. From climate to resources to conflicts, culture, drama, and even natural enemies. So make sure you're thinking carefully about where the city is before you build anything else for your D&D location or your novel scenes. Tip 2 for world building your city, consider the climate. Now you've placed your city on the map, it's time to think about what it feels like to live there. A city that is on top of a freezing mountain is going to have really different challenges to face than a city in a desert, for example. Remember to think about seasons as well as climate. Is there a monsoon or rainy season, or are there 5 regular seasons like spring, summer, autumn, and winter? And how varied are the temperature and weather conditions between these different seasons? Are there other common disasters that they need to protect themselves from, like magical storms, floods, or earthquakes? Understanding how your settlement, your town or your city, overcomes the issues and the conflicts that are presented by the climate is a really formative step. That will affect everything from the architecture and how the buildings are made to what people wear and potentially to their culture as well. Climate also has an impact on what the society needs and also what the society can have available. Which brings us to resources. Resources are a super important part of the fabric of the city. And yes, I'm speaking literally as well as figuratively. Figuring out what your city is made of and also what it runs on, not just food and drink, but also like industrial processes and heat and light, for example, is a really important part of adding character to your city. Industrial processes. Also have a think about what the city's wealth was built on. Is it close to a source of fine steel, spun yeti wool, silver, agriculture, or maybe it's fueled by the whaling industry? Deciding which resources are common and which are rare is also a great way to show wealth disparity in your city, if that's something you're up for. The rich people will have access to expensive and rare or luxury resources, which the poorer people will not. For example, rich people might build their houses from marble, middle-class people might build them from stone, and poorer people might build them from wood or other local resources. Resources and how they're used is a great way to start keying into the tone and feeling of your setting as well. By the way, your World Anvil meta article will really help you here, so make sure that you have A, filled it in so you know what your world is all about, and B, checked it out once in a while so you can reference it and build your stuff. If your city is a sci-fi city, maybe a future Silicon Valley, then consider that when you're thinking about resources. What do they need? What do they have? And how are they using those resources? And remember that resources aren't just stuff. If you're in a fantasy setting, your main export might be trained magicians, for example, or dragon's eggs, or dinosaurs. If you're creating a grim, dark, gritty, emo, depressing setting, love it, by the way, then you can limit what resources are available. Remember to check your materials templates on World Anvil for this, guys. You'll probably already have cool resources that you've forgotten about, and you can bring those into your city as well. This is a great place to think outside the box and add a ton of character to your city in a very easy way, which is a great show, don't tell. Tip number 4 for world building towns and cities is write a bit of history. But like a bit, alright? If you want to write a successful town or city, you do not have to write the entire history of the settlement. You can if you want to, but it's going to take a hot minute. However, creating a few major past events can give you a lot of flavor and can help you make your city feel really unique. For example, have there been any cataclysms or catastrophic events that still affect the present today? If your city is all rich and lovely and desirable, who's tried to raid it? Maybe bandits or even another country. If you have had military conflict in the past, this is a great moment to think about your military capabilities and defensive capabilities of your cities as well. Has the city always belonged to this nation, or has it changed hands between different nations? That will also have a big impact on the culture and architecture of your city too. And if there are any major earthquakes, fires, plagues, or famines, how has that impacted the way the city has grown? Has it affected the way the city functions and is governed today? Or how about religious conversions or revolutions? Maybe there are plaques, monuments, or landmarks to celebrate or commemorate these events within the city. Or perhaps there are rules to prevent these things happening again. This is a great moment to think about how those laws and rules in general are maintained and enforced in your city, and what happens if people break them. Building up your city in things that are tangible, like landmarks, architecture, and even laws and where you go if you break them, is a great way to make your city feel more character-centric. This is the kinds of stuff that your players and your main characters are going to see and interact with on the streets of your city. Delving into the history will also help you answer questions about the city's cultures, the traditions, and their taboos. Taboos are really important sources of conflict, by the way. And this is the stuff that's going to make your city feel really unique, and which your players and readers will remember long after the book or the campaign is over. World building tip number 5 is current affairs. So we've talked so far about the stuff of the city, where it is, what resources are there, what it's built of. This is the point at which you can put your city from a physical thing into something in motion. You're going to make it feel alive. We've talked before on this channel about world drama, the idea of having current affairs for your entire world that make things seem bustling and alive. Refer to those on your meta page on World Anvil because they will really help you at this point. Figuring out how they affect your city specifically is going to make it feel like it is part of your wider world and not just in a bubble all by itself. For example, if there's a war going on in your world, maybe this city is close to the border and it's seeing an influx of refugees. On the other hand, if they have a great source of steel, they've probably been requisitioned to make weapons. In this way, you're linking your city into the wider tapestry of the world. But as well as adding current affairs which are linking in from the wider world, you can also have current affairs which are city-specific. I'd suggest choosing about 5 of these. It's enough that your players or readers kind of remember them, but also start to lose track. So it feels like there's lots of stuff going on, but you can keep track of how much that really is. Examples of current affairs you could use might be things like governmental scandals, rumors, new technologies, diseases, immigrations or emigrations, food shortages, random sinkholes appearing, or a spate of high-profile crimes. This is another great place to weave in your tone and genre, but just a warning, even in dark worlds, make sure there are a few good things going on, not only bad things going on, so that your world feels credible and your readers want to keep reading. Plus, there's nothing darker than giving somebody hope and then mashing it in the face. As you're building your current affairs, think about different factions and power circles within your town or city. You might have guilds versus the main organizational unit like a mayor, versus religion, versus other factions within the city as well. All these factions will have agendas, long-term plans, and they'll all be doing things, which is a great way to set things in motion in your city. But what's really awesome is that now you have stuff for your side characters and your NPCs to talk about. Hooray! Remember that opinions are like buttholes. Everyone's got one and they're all slightly different. And this is something you can use with your NPCs and side characters to make your world feel really varied and to characterize those people even more. And as a bonus, all of these current affairs are endless sources of conflict, side quests, and B-plots. Huzzah! If you want more tips for world-building towns and cities, check out our full world-building template for cities and towns, the settlement template, which is available on World Anvil for free right now. Good news, everybody! We're trying something new with our videos. So a ton of you let us know that you've really been enjoying the prompts over on the World Anvil website and also the challenges that we've been sharing with you. So we thought, wouldn't it be cool if we added world-building and writing prompts to our videos as well? So for this video, your challenge, should you choose to accept it, is write about a city in your world which is considered unique or unusual. Make sure you really dig into these 5 tips: location, climate, resources, history, and current affairs to create something that's really unique and feels really different from the other cities in your world. To submit your prompt, follow the URL in the description of this video and make sure you check out other people's entries too. There's always somebody doing something awesome on World Anvil. So what about you? What are your top tips for creating cities? Or even better, what are your pet hates? What are the things people do in creating cities that you really don't like? Throw them in the comments below. If this video was helpful or if it made you think, then please smash that like button. It really helps us get our content and advice in front of more people. And make sure you subscribe for more world building content and World Anvil tutorials. But in the meantime, grab your hammer and go world build.